play. Howard over Morehouse this past week, it wasn't really a hard game. Coming back playing a soft team, then coming back and playing a strong team. We'll see how they respond to
it. Someone calls this the Endowment Bowl, I guess. Now, this one right here, from what I understand, Coach, this one is pretty nasty right here, Coach. This is definitely rivals. Some would say big brother against little brother. How do you see this?
Well, you got two guys that have worked with each other, two guys who have know each other real good. You got, it's the Eagle Classic.
Eagle Aggie Classic, they call it.
Yeah, I better say Aggie too. Classic. You can throw the records out. It's going to be a barn burner. I don't think it's going to be a close one. Let me say that. It's going to be a very close football game, because each other not only know each other, they know each other's teams as well.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you, Coach. With Walker Harris starting for North Carolina, I don't see how A&T is going to stay in this game. Okay. With him doing all that work against Fayetteville State last week, he's probably just going to continue his hot streak and blow these guys out as well. Because Walker Harris, now that he played Fayetteville State, he's now like that.
Yeah, well, you're comparing apples to oranges to North Carolina A&T and Fayetteville State. I'm not going to downplay North Carolina A&T, the new North Carolina A&T. He's going to have to come out and play. And it's going to be a big and a tough game. And, we talk about Harris. Harris is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. The thing that Harris has to do is to make sure that he has it, that he makes the plays to extend plays, and he makes where he has to get out of there and get them 2 or 3, 4 yards to make a first down. That's what I want to see Harris does. Yeah, he had a great game against Fayetteville State. The kid can throw the football, pinpoint it, But the thing about quarterbacks, like I told you, it's completions and it's winning football games. And a QB has to make his team win football games.
Yeah, Coach, now that he played Fayetteville State, he's a generational talent, and he can't be stopped. Go ahead, Campbell. Do you have anything on this since you are our historian?
Yeah, I've got a few things. And the shade, that tree shade is very good. So here's the thing. Walker Harris went for 4 touchdowns this game last year. They scored 66 points. And I think that Trey Oliver does not want to get any momentum started with North Carolina A&T, because I give A&T credit. One thing, they won the game last week. Hampton kind of let their foot off the gas last 2 minutes again. I think they kind of got a little bit old. The game is over, and North Carolina played all the way through the whistle. So I give that's good to Coach. That's good coaching. But I'm telling you one thing. I don't think Central's going to give them any quarter. I think they're going to try to put another 6 points on them, and I think it's going to get ugly real quick.
All right. Coach, I tend to agree with you, Campbell. I don't think this will be competitive. I think Trey Oliver has a program over there in North Carolina, and I don't suspect he'll give the upstarts of North Carolina A&T any room to breathe in this game. He's going to put his foot on their neck, and he's going to keep it on there all night long, in my opinion.
So y'all betting against the coach? Okay.
Yeah. Well, like I say, Sean Gibbs is a friend of the show, and we are definitely rooting for him. But I have to acknowledge.
I'm talking about me. Y'all two going against me? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Coach, we have to acknowledge that Trey Oliver is the best coach in HBCU football, in my opinion.
I would not argue with you on that.
So, with that being the case, I think he'll be able to handle this situation. And at the end of the day, North Carolina A&T is playing with a 6-string quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Because they lost 3 of them when they played I forget who they played, but they played somebody who knocked out 3 of the quarterback. So,
Yeah,
the last game in the MEAC this week is Norfolk State and Sacred Heart. You know, I don't know who will win this game. I'm going to take Norfolk State because I really believe it's time for Vic and his staff to play a solid game and defeat a Division I team. I believe that they have the talent, but for whatever reason, up to this point, they haven't been able to put it together. But I expect them to beat Sacred Heart. What do you guys think?
Well, Sacred Heart, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's an independent. And I saw that they had won one, lost one, beat Long Island, and I think beat Lehigh. You know, this is one of those ones I think Coach Vic needs a victory like this. This is one of those games that I think he needs victory. I tell you one thing, too, and correct me if I'm wrong, this game is in Norfolk, right? They've been averaging, hey, man, he's been putting 20,000 people in that barn. I like that. So, again, I think the crowd support is there. I think this is one of those games that they want to really get a good showing, and they really have not had a good showing all season. So maybe this is where they started.
They need to start with Otto.
Yeah. So that's what I think. So I think maybe come out strong, get the crowd into it, get the band rocking and rolling, and things like that. So I'm going to go with Norfolk.
What about you, Coach?
You know, he's playing against a team that is not going to make a lot of mistakes. I think it'll be a close game. I think athletic-wise, Norfolk got the athletes, but you got to put it all together, and the team that makes the less mistakes usually win the football games. So I'm gonna go with Sacred Heart.
All right, Coach. We're gonna be able to whiz through this, Coach, because last week it was a bunch of blacks against the whites, and we know how they usually turn out. And some D2s against D1s. We know how they usually turn out. So Tuskegee and Jackson State, I know you watched this game, Campbell. I didn't, but people are saying that somehow Jackson State struggled in a 30-0 game. I don't see how that happens, but can you kind of make it make sense?
Well, I did watch the game, and I think what I'm going to listen. I'm going to say this. T.C. Taylor's building a bomb over there, and he didn't play a lot of starters. He put a freshman quarterback in to give that kid some reps. Kid went out there and threw, I think, for like 289 yards, if I'm correct, 269 yards, something like that, real quick. And, you know, the defense shut them out. Hey, when you don't let somebody score, you win the football game. So, yeah, Lockhart went for 257. That's what it was, 257. So, hey, none of the big guys played. I mean, I think Jackson State played down in the competition. They could have probably scored 50 on if they wanted. But I think they played a little bit down in the competition. But I like what T.C. Taylor said in the coach's press conference. He said, listen, we had guys that made mistakes, and on Sunday they were out there with Coach O and they were running. So I think he has that team focused. So, again, you know, people want these people to put 70, 80 points on it, but it's not going to happen. I mean, 30 points is good for them, and they got out with the victory.
Coach Cole, I'll let you did you want to say anything about the Jackson State Tuskegee game, Coach, before we move on?
30-0 and beating Tuskegee is big. Tuskegee is a perennial winning program. It's tough. You know, of course, you know, I played them at Tuskegee. I lost to them at Texas Southern. Beating Tuskegee, Coach James and them, Aaron James and them, they got a good program over there. So should I take my eye off to Jackson State, going in there and beating them 30-0?
All right, Coach. Now this one right here, Coach, I did watch this game here. And it seems to me that Prairie View was, now this may sound kind of weird to say this. It seemed like physically they were on equal footing. But when it came to the crucial plays, they just weren't able to make them to the point to where they ended up, you know, basically getting blew out 17-38. And I'll have to ask you guys, as HBCU guys, is this a good showing? I know they usually don't win these games, but is this a good showing by Prairie View?
I think it's a great showing. I mean, anytime you're playing a Division I-A football team Again, they got 85 scholarships plus, and you got 63 full. Their facilities are much better. I should say much better because Prairie View has improved theirs. But I thought they were in this game at times. The game they just couldn't get over the hump. I think they found Prairie, and I'm speaking of Prairie View. I think they found the quarterback. I think they're gonna go with, that's where you want to be. At Prairie View losing a game, 38-17. You right in that football game. So I'm impressed with it, and again, everybody is about to get in the thick of things.
What do you think, Campbell?
Listen, I'm going to say this. I could care less about this game, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because the game that they're playing next week is important. They're playing Northwestern State. Prairie View has to win that game, point blank, period. So they got out of this game not injured. Looks like like I said, they're going back and forth. Their quarterback looks like they're going to go with the kid Carter. So I'm just saying this. I think they need to be focused and not worry about this game because that loss, and I expect a lot out of Coach Jackson. I do not expect them to lose that game. So they need to be focused and win that game. So that's my point on that.
Yeah. All right, guys. This next one was a barn burner. I watched probably 95% of this game. I was really impressed with Cornelius Brown. I was also impressed with McNair, the Tennessee State quarterback. But it seems like he had one good quarter, and they couldn't muster much offense coming out of halftime against Alabama A&M. I'm telling you, Coach Shade, he was able to make some defensive adjustments that really stifled what would look like a prolific offense by Tennessee State in the second quarter. What did you guys think about this game?
Well, I'm surprised they just scored 21 because they got my guys over there, and Torino Morgan and Harris being the offensive coordinator. So I'm a little upset that they're going to only pull off 21 points and not score enough to win this football game. But then again, I can't say enough about Sam Shade and his staff. They're going to play good defense, and they're going to run the football. So going in this game, I know that, and Tennessee State was up, and they had a couple of series that they could have made, stretched it a little bit, and they weren't able to. So I'm a little disappointed at those coordinators, and I'm gonna call Coach Morgan and get on them cats, man. They supposed to win this football game.
And it's surprising if you look at the game. Tennessee State controlled the line, controlled the ball. They had the least amount of penalties. They were able to rush the ball where A&M really struggled to run. They had an interception that they threw, and they were able to hold Alabama A&M to 3 of 12 on fourth down, and they were slightly under 50% on third down efficiency themselves. If you look at the stat line, this game, there's a lot about this game that you would say it looks like Tennessee State should have won the game, but with a ball control passing game, it looked like Alabama A&M was able to win the game. And how many times, and I'll ask you guys, how many times as a SWAC quarterback have you seen a team win a game with a ball control passing game?
I think that's how you win football games. If you can complete passes, that means you're moving the chain. And if you have that, then that's a plus for you.
Yeah. You like I say, we've had some guys be able to run the football. We had some dual threats, but we really haven't had a guy like Cornelius Brown did the other day in the SWAC in a long time. Probably since Shador, huh? They could really control a game through.
And I don't want to start nothing. You had Harris throw for 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, but this kid was 21 for 33 with 329 and 2 TDs and no interceptions. and
Yes.
won the football game and played against a great program that was on their level. And
What are you hitting at, Coach?
this kid is consistent. No, I'm not hitting on nothing. I'm just making sure that if we're gonna tell it, let's tell it the right way.
Yeah.
No, nothing away from nobody. I'm just showing this kid's accolades.
Absolutely.
Look when we go to Alabama State, look what Body done in a short time.
Let's look at it. Body threw it 16 times, had 14 completions for 250 for 251 and 4 touchdowns.
And didn't play in the second half. I mean, what we talking about? And Body has thrown 10 touchdowns in 3 games. 10. So and did they put down what he rushed?
Well, because I don't know what he rushed, but that's what AB does.
Yeah,
he ran 7 times for 60 yards.
Yeah, I was looking at that. That's almost another 400 yards total offense.
Yeah, that's a day's work.
Come on, Campbell, stat man.
Well, listen, I want to go back to that Alabama A&M and Tennessee State game. First of all, I think we got to give Coach Barlow more credit because, Coach, you said this is a great program, but he did not take over a great program. He took over a team that was gutted. He took over a team that he had to, in the summer, find players. And the fact that he's got this team competitive, which a lot of people didn't think was going to be competitive, says a lot about his coaching ability. Now, I want to talk about, Rocky, you talked about the third down official. Let me tell you something about this game, and I watched this whole game to the time. Hey, one thing about that quarterback, they kept that team on schedule. So one of the things that you saw was a lot of first and second downs that turned into first downs. Yeah. Another thing, too, what you got to say, and I'm going to give them a nickname. Hey, that Alabama A&M, that get shady defense got shady in the second half. And I really starting to see Sam Shea, what you starting to see, the confidence in his players, and you starting to see that camaraderie that he's bringing in with some of those guys from Miles and some of the guys that wanted to be at A&M. You're starting to see that.
You said A&M's defense got shady in the second half?
I'll give them a new nickname. They get shady defense.
Oh, you mean good? They got good.
Yeah.
You know what happened, Coach, and is that the defensive line in the first half was penetrating, right? And the running backs were able to find creases by Tennessee State. Rhymes was able to find some creases. In the second half, they kind of played like at the line of scrimmage, and Tennessee State couldn't run the ball at all. They didn't penetrate as much, but they just held them at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
and
I know that running the O-line coach over there, he worked for me during our championship years at Tennessee State. And they got Coach, I want to say his name is Greg Anderson, the defensive coordinator. He likes to apply a lot of pressure. That's his thing. When he coached with the New Orleans Saints, he was the one that had the what was it? Special
the bounty.
Team. The bounty.
Yeah.
He was the coach behind that, and I've seen his display. He likes to bring a lot of pressure, and they were pretty much prepared for that because A&M has NFL coaches on their staff as well. So they were very prepared for that.
Yeah, they were well schooled, well drilled on that.
Right.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was a really good game. Then Alcorn, Mississippi State, we know what that is. Lincoln, California, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's not worth mentioning. We already talked about Bethune-Cookman and South Carolina State. But this game right here, Grambling and Kentucky State, some people would say Grambling stole a game from Kentucky State. I don't agree, but it was a questionable call made to end the ball game. But, Coach, what do you think about the G-men taking Kentucky State to overtime?
You asking me?
Ain't you the coach?
That don't look good at all. And then it makes so bad they trail they trailed some of the game, but on any given Saturday, a team can come out and do its best. I'm pretty sure Coach Mickey Joseph glad that he got out of that. I know it's some work that they got to do, but that doesn't look good at all on the home team. That Grambling struggled with Kentucky State and had to win in overtime. But sometimes things happen. I know he'll get back and put things together and see where they were soft-fed or whether they weren't playing Grambling football. But hey, man, at the end of the day, a win is a win.
Now, Campbell, where is the Grambling program at, Campbell?
Well, I'm going to disagree, but I'm going to shout out Coach Huggins. Now, Coach Huggins, and we just had a guest on this show, is from Doug Williams' hometown, Zachary, Louisiana. They said he had half that town down there rooting for him. So that means he knows a little bit of something about Grambling. He played down there in Louisiana. He knows about that G. So I think he had those guys motivated. I'm going to say this, and I think Coach Joseph is a fine coach, but they got to figure something out because this is not the Grambling standard. For the fact, and this might, if they would have lost this game, and Coach, you correct me if I'm wrong, this could have been one of the worst losses in Grambling history to a Kentucky State team. I'm sorry. This is Grambling University, Grambling University, I guess that's what they're called. And for them to have had, Kentucky State had this game won. I want people to understand this. This game was won. And unfortunately, the quarterback, he slid just a little bit too short. They went with the right play. They kicked the field goal. Grambling came back. Great job by Grambling's offense to come back, tie the game, to get it into overtime. But I will tell you this. I was disappointed to see this because Kentucky State had this game under control all the way through. And just to see what Grambling played, I just don't like it. And again, I want Grambling to be Grambling. And I know Coach Joseph is going to get them on the right track, but I think this is one of those wake-up games that I think, hey, when he came back in and looked at that film, I think he's going to tell these players this is not up to the Grambling standard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, Coach. I agree with you, Campbell, and I think they should be concerned down in the hole. Really concerned. These last two games, Coach, I know everybody thought that Mississippi Valley and Texas Southern would have a better showing against their Southland Conference foes. Aren't both these teams in the Southland Conference?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it looks like, it was never a game for Texas Southern and Mississippi Valley. They got it put on them pretty early too. So it just seems like, for whatever reason, the SWAC schools never show up in these games.
Hey, they kind of take on some of the SWAC teams knowing that they're gonna win. Unfortunately they do. But we got to continue to get better. We keep on turning over coaches. You got Chris Dishman in his second year at Lamar, and Coach Buckley first year at Valley. So, when you keep starting over and not building continuity, this is what happens.
Campbell, you want to say anything about this?
Well, I think this was a little bit of a setback for Valley. I think when you listen to Coach Buckley, he kind of talked about that, and that he said he wants guys that want to be on the bus. And I think, once again, when you got guys that know, and like Dion said, knows what it looks like, Coach Buckley knows what winning and how to get to be a winning program looks like, because he played in the winning program. He played for Bill Belichick. He knows what it looks like. I think this is one of those games that he had a gut check. He said he played some younger guys. So I think that, Bo, sometimes when you have a loss like this, it allows you to see the character of some of your players. So I think that's what he's going to utilize on that. Now, the Lamar game, I was really shocked by that. And I think Coach Disman, like I say, listen to the coach core, he was shocked. He was definitely upset. He said this is not what he signed up for. So when I hear a coach say this is not what he signed up for, then the question is, what did you sign up for? And if you didn't sign up for, what are you going to do to change that? Because now you're getting ready to go into SWAC play. So again, your players are a reflection of who and what you are. So if you didn't sign up for, then that is for your players to then sign up for whatever that you want them to sign up for, which I'm assuming is being winning and playing hard.
you know, statistically, this game looked really winnable for Texas Southern, considering that the opposing quarterback only threw for 81 yards.
Well, see, the issue is they played Lamar tough last year. Now, how do you take that? Do you take it that Lamar improved and Texas Southern didn't? Or do you prove that Lamar, it was just a bad game for Lamar last year, but they still pulled out the win? It doesn't look good for Texas Southern at all. You know what I'm saying? Saying if we were close last year, then we should got better. They got better. They blocked 2 punts. Special teams, they blocked 2 point early in the game and put them up 28-7 at halftime. And after that, they didn't get nothing else. You know, Lamar went on to score. You know, I told you guys when Lamar beat South Dakota State, even though South Dakota State at the time didn't win, they beat a great program. That means that Lamar University's football program improved tremendously.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hearing some things down in Texas Southern about what's going on there and in that football program, and it's not good. But hopefully, like you say, that Coach Dishman can pull them back together. You know, I think the thing that Coach Dishman need, and because he's a young head coach, is he's got to hold his emotions in on what he think and feel about the program. And it's almost like what he think and feel about the whole aspect of Texas Southern University, period. You know, it's went from the alumni, now it's going to the team. You know, that's not good in that locker room. And hopefully he can pull that and fix that before they get going through the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah. Now, these last 2 games, I'm sure Campbell had a very close interest in this game. This game surprisingly was very competitive in the first half. And the first half ended with FAMU being behind. Campbell, at that point in the game, what were you thinking, or how surprised were you when Albany was leading 14-10?
Well, let me say this, and I told everybody, because, you know, let me tell you what's funny, what I like about this community that we're a part of. We got a lot of people that don't know football but like to just say stuff, and that's fine. And I told all these jokers, if any of you all want to put any money on this game, I had $1,000 that I was ready to give away. I wasn't worried about us losing the game. What I was worried about was how we played the game. There's 2 different things. I never thought that we were going to lose this game, but I wanted to see how we were going to play the game. So that was my concern. So you come in there and you know Coach Gray, hey, listen, and I'm going to say this, man. Coach Gray, while he's a rattler, he wants this job potentially in the future, now, tomorrow, whenever they will. He had that team 100% prepared. That quarterback is electric. You could tell that they had game plan and watch tape on FAMU. But one of the things that I think Coach Cozy, which if he's going to ride or die with RJ, I think he did a disservice. And this is why you can't tease this fan base. He brings Jet Petty in. Jet Petty kind of looks like they get the mojo, kind of looks like the team is moving. He throws a ball, the receiver, which we had multiple drops. I think we had 8 drops, several for touchdowns, and he took Petty out and never played him again. And then you have all the people, which again, people like myself, people that, you know, coaches, everybody else questioning what Coach Coach. And I don't like question the coach. He's the coach, he gets paid $250,000. But I just think that I think what he should have done was played each one a series after a series to really give them a time to see which one to evaluate. But clearly, RJ Johnson is the guy. Albany State didn't have a kicker. FAMU pulled it out. But I'll tell you another thing, too. FAMU has got to really realize, I think this is an offensive thing, what is going to be our identity? Because we're not a running team. I don't believe we're a running team. I think we're a pass-first team to set up the run, and I think that's what they're going to have to figure out. Because I tell you what, the road's about to read the road 2 weeks from now when Alabama State comes into town. And we're going to know 100% where this program is at when that game, because Alabama State is coming to win that game. Andrew Body's coming to win that game. So I guess, again, I wasn't worried about us losing the game. I was worried about how we
Yeah. What did you say there, Coach? What did you see there with that game?
Albany, is one of those blue bread Division II programs. They had a big stadiums before some of these Division I HBCUs. They gonna play you tough, but we sitting here we talking about Florida A&M. They finally got out of the 20s. How much have they improved? I don't know. I'm not feeling real good about Florida A&M and being one of the best teams in the league. Like Coach said, you got to call it like you got to call it, man. Coach Cozy's got to get them going. They've had 2 recruiting seasons. These kids are now his. People's expectations of Florida A&M is not displaying. I got to call it like it is, and there's some issues and there's some problems somewhere in this team and in this program that they're not coming off of a national championship season, and in 2 years it seems like they're going backwards. So it is what it is. We'll see if they can get out of this stunt or this slump they're in. And, we'll see. The season's about to come around. And, guys, at the end of the season, at the end of the day, you got to win games. So he won that one. And it don't matter if you win 3-0 the rest of the year, as long as you win in each week. But, if you're a betting man right now, you wouldn't have a lot of faith in Florida A&M running through the conference.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Coach. And I remember watching this game, and we always have to remember that Petty did throw an interception, and let's not forget that point. And it was
wait. No. See context. No, Petty did not throw an interception. The receiver dropped the ball, and the interception was caught. There's a difference.
Okay. All right.
There's a big difference on that. So that's the thing about it, and that was the interesting thing. I've had people call me and say, well, that's the reason why he didn't go back in the game. And again, these coaches are allowed to coach the team. And I think because I think what we do a lot of times on these shows, not this show, because we actually have a coach. We criticize people when most of the people have never done what they do. So I'm going to show the respect that they deserve because those are tough jobs that they have. But the question is more of a question. If Petty threw the interception, and maybe he'll be able to address it, because nobody asked him that on the coaches call, which I was interested. Nobody asked him that, but that it was what it was. Is that what is the situation? Is the thing that Jet just does not show what to play more, or you're saying, I'm going to ride or die with RJ, and that's the case. Then just say that. Just say it.
Yeah. I watched the first half of the game, and when Jet did give them a jolt in the arm, right? I will definitely say that. But then once RJ starts off the second half the way he starts it off, I can't blame Cozy for keeping him in the game. I'm just being perfectly honest with you. He starts him off by throwing a strike on a slant post, whatever you call it, and the guy takes it to the house. I don't blame him for keeping RJ in once he comes back in the game. So, but so we can move on to next week. And if there ever was such thing as an off week in the SWAC, this would be it. We have 4 games, but there's a opportunity in all 4 of these games, and so let's go ahead and talk about them. Campbell, you have strong opinions about this game, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, listen, I am a big believer of Coach Jackson. And if Prairie View is going to be the team that he believes they can be and what that fan base wants them to be, you can't lose this game. This is what they say, a canary in the coal mine again. Because if they lose this game, I'm sorry, Prairie View folks. Y'all not going to have the season that you're going to have. I'm just telling you that point blank, period. So that's the reason why I think Coach Jackson understands that. I think he's not going to mess around. He saw what they did with Alcorn. Alcorn kind of messed around, lost this game. I think Prairie View's going to come out here, and I think they're really going to play well to get them ready for SWAC. But if they lose this game, guys, I'm sorry. This is not going to be your year.
Hey, Coach Cole, is Northwestern State going to be the SWAC West champions?
Well, I wouldn't take it that far, Coach Campbell, because when you look at the West, you got Grambling 2-1, you got UAPB 1-2, Alcorn is 0-3, Texas Southern 0-3, and Southern is 1-3. So the teams they got to play is not doing very well. Who they got left on the east side of the schedule?
The west side.
I'm sorry, yeah, the west side. So I wouldn't go as that far, but I understand that, yeah, we putting a lot of gas in Prairie View's tank, and you know they got to show and make people feel comfortable that they are the best team on the east side.
The west side.
I mean the west side. I keep missing them, but it is right that Are you saying that they got to win convincingly or just win?
No, Coach, I don't listen. Here's the thing, because I'm speaking from the bravado that the coach. Because let me tell you something was kind of funny. They won that Texas Southern game. That could have went the other way. Because what is Prairie View's record right now?
1-2.
They could be 0-3.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they lose this game. That means they will be 0-4.
Well.
So my thing is now and the reason why I'm saying they brought in the number 1 recruiting class. Okay. That's what they said. They brought in the number 1 recruit. We brought in all they played. The standard is the standard. And Coach Jackson, because that's my guy, he said, we win these games. We don't want to be just SWAC good. We want to be everybody on our level. So I'm going to hold him accountable for that because I like Coach Jackson. I like that mentality because that's the only way for the SWAC to get back to have some level of respect. We got to win these games. That's the level of disrespect for the SWAC is because we lose games like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, he's a first-year program. Northwestern been around, and they got better. We got to give Northwestern and their staff better. You got programs that come in. Look at Delaware State. We come in, nobody expect them to do well, but Northwest end up upsetting Alcorn. So, you got to put perspective on things year to year. Because Northwestern's been a perennial losing program in the last couple of years, and there's a good reason why. They also, if you've been knowing Northwestern, they have been having a pretty good program back in the day. So they trying to get things straight. I get it. Coach Jackson has wrote and sold a lot of tickets, but I don't look at it that way. I look at it that he's coming into a Prairie View program that he's trying to get it going in the right way. He's trying to get people behind. He's trying to get those dollars that he spends. So, I don't buy all the way into it. He knows what he have. But I think he beat Northwestern. I think he beat Northwestern 28-17.
So let me say this. I'm going to go ahead and pick Prairie View on this game, but I will say this. From a competitive standpoint, we went in to this season thinking there will be something on the line at the State Fair Classic. With them, if they lose to Northwestern, with Grambling almost losing to Kentucky State, I'll ask Campbell, what does that do to that game from a competitive standpoint?
Well, see, you hit it right on the head. So you're talking about two teams that had hopes because, again, everybody believes the West is wide open. Everybody in their locker room, right? We pick who we pick, but everybody in those locker rooms in the West said, we believe we can win. So if you're coming out there and you're not producing and you got teams that are limping in with 1 win, barely beating teams that they should win, I mean, that's not good football. That is Grambling. We got a Coach Jackson. We got a championship coach. I want to see championship football. Again, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on because this is his first year. But I'm just telling, hey, this is Prairie View folks. They making T-shirts. They got hoodies. He's singing Atlanta. Hey, man, when you do that, hey, man, listen, I'm with you. Keep singing. But when you play these games, you better win them. You better win them because it means a lot for the SWAC. It means a lot for your program. So again, your margin right now, you could have been 0-3. You don't want to be on 4 or 1-3. So Prairie View, like I said, you said you brought in all that talent. Let's show it. Because one thing I've also seen.
What are you saying? What are you saying about Alcorn, who lost to him?
That's the point. Exactly. So you're talking about high hopes, and then you lost to him. Alcorn is a better program than that. Coach Thomas is a better coach than that. He knows that. And like I said, the one thing about these coaches, they're not like they're running from this. So these are coaches, these are men. These are grown men that are not running from the smoke. But what I'm saying is I want them to understand when we play these out-of-conference games, we have people all over that come in to watch these shows, and the first thing they said, we can't win these out-of-conference games.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. Northwestern beat Alcorn 20-10.
So wait, hold on, wait a minute. So Darius asked me what FAMU. Listen, I want to be clear. I don't know. That's the thing about it. Just the fact that I have to say I don't know, a Florida A&M, a traditional power, I don't know. But what I will say this, and in fairness to Prairie View, that school on the Rio Grande got a $100 million new barn down there and 38,000 students. So, I see that happening with West Florida and West Georgia. They're coming. So that's my answer to that. But on Florida A&M's level, the Jack State levels, the Grambling levels, the South Carolina State level, those teams are supposed to win those games. The standard is a standard. So when you're a name team, yes, they should win that game. But the fact that I can't say that with confidence, that's where we're at. So I'm saying this with Prairie View is that I like Coach Jack. That man is a coach. That man's a real coach. And what he didn't do is he did not go Cornell Manor, I'm paid to win SWAC games. He did not say that. I like exactly what he said. I'm paid to win these games because these guys are on my level.
Well, let me go back to something that Coach Jackson said. Coach Jackson said, we want to be an elite FCS program. You can't even talk about being an elite program if you can't beat a team that's 1-20. I don't care who they lost to. I don't care how good their program is, Coach. If you can't beat a team that's 1-20, you need to go back to the drawing board. You don't have what you think you have. You're not who you think you are. And I'm not, and this is no slight to Coach Jackson. This is it could be him completely being optimistic. But at the end of the day, he could lose this game and win the SWAC. In my opinion, this is still going to be a stain on his record if he loses the game.
See, listen to what you just said. And that's my point. And Crook said, what does students matter? When you have more students,
money.
That's activity fees. That's simple math. I know you learned that down in Southern. So that does matter. That's why they got a $100 million facility. So next, Rocky, to your point, that's what my point of it is. I don't want a SWAC champion. Let's play it out. To your point, a SWAC West champion, but they lose to a Northwest State that's like, what are they? What'd you just say? 1-22? You don't want that. You don't want that. And I'm talking about from what Coach Cole knows. On top. Coach Cole, like I said, he rode on the back of that bus. Coach Cole, do you think Eddie Robinson or Case on WC Gordon would have lost that game? Or say we're gonna lose this game? We okay with that?
What you saying? Losing a team like Northwestern?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is a whole nother year, guys. That's all I can say. It's a whole nother year. But looking at Northwestern, of course they beat Alcorn, and then they lost to University of Cincinnati like 70-0, and then lost to University of Minnesota. I think another 60-0. I think Prairie View gonna do what they're supposed to do. I think Coach Jackson and PV gonna do what they're supposed to do.
But that's what we want.
They'll win this football game.
Yeah, and it's not a criticism. That's what we want. We want because see, listen. Let me say this: as a fan, Rocky, I want them to win the game because, like you said, I want these games to mean something. I want Prairie View and Alcorn to mean something. I want Prairie View and Grambling to mean something. I want Southern and Prairie View to mean something. That's good for this show. That's good for the fans. But if you got teams walking in there, they're 1-5, and somebody's 1-6.
Let's look at this, Coach, because I want you to understand what Coach Jackson is about to take on. He's taking on a team that was 3 for 13 on third down against Alcorn. He's taking on a team that had 267 total yards against Alcorn, 85 passing yards against Alcorn. That was 9 for 16 against Alcorn. That threw an interception. That had 80 yards rushing on 41 carries. Had 8 penalties for 60 yards. And Alcorn State had 15 penalties for 123 yards. If Pre-V cannot beat that, can't play cleaner than that and beat Northwestern State, Coach, they don't deserve to represent the SWAC West, Coach.
Look, I get what you guys saying, and I understand that PV should win this football game, and I have no doubt that he will win the football game. But I think you guys are putting a lot on coulda, woulda, shoulda. On any given Saturday, things can happen. But I don't see or foresee it being happen. I think he's on course with his program. I get it. He should win the game. I'm behind y'all 110%. You know what I'm saying? But, he's a first-year coach as well.
Coach, so this is what I say. Why does a first-year coach get to sing Atlanta, and also lose to Northwestern State?
That's the business. This is the honeymoon stage of any first-year coach. Any first-year coach. It's the honeymoon stage.
So should we pay attention to anything that first-year coaches say?
Mississippi Valley beat Florida A&M last year. Right? Stuff happens. First-year coach. He on his honeymoon. But let's move on, Coach. We spent so much time.
Yeah. Okay, we only got 3 games left, Coach, so we're going to get out of here. Coach, this is one where if Edwards Waters wins, should Coach Woody just hand his whistle to Coach Jenkins? I'll let the guy with the Florida ties answer this question first.
Listen, it gets go back to what my point is. This is a game Bethune-Cookman can't lose. See, this is my point. This is a game that, you exactly the point. Bethune-Cookman can't lose this game. But here's the thing. We've seen it happen last year. They lost, and Coach, you tell me because you know a little bit more than us. How do you compare this Edward Waters team to the Clark team of last year? Which one would you consider? I don't know if you've seen Edward Waters play this year. Yeah. But do you consider the same level of talent? Maybe not the quarterback position.
Of course.
Okay.
Because of all the skilled people and his staff. He has a very mature staff. Matter of fact, we'll have Coach Jenkins on Monday, and he can share and tell you guys actually what's happening. But I think you're right. I think this is more of a – first of all, if Prairie View lose to Northwest, it's a little black eye. It's a little, I don't think you are. But this here, Cookman, been here 3 years. This is this coach's team now. You're playing a Division II school. You got to win this football game.
And this will be the second year that you would have lost to a Division II. See, this is the thing, man. Listen.
Now, this is a win-win, gotta win.
Got to.
You better start stopping by Walmart or U-Haul and get some boxes.
Listen, I coined the phrase that U-Haul special, and I think you guys remember a couple of years ago when we talked about this, about the U-Haul special, and I pulled it up, and we knew what it was. It was $19.95, and they gave you 100 miles. So that U-Haul special is still in effect. Yeah. So it's that type of game, man. And if I was the head coach of Bethune-Cookman, I would take the same road. If I didn't get this one, I would be preparing my next move. Well, Steve, this is the reason why I like what Bethune did against South Carolina State. Even though, like I said, we know it was late, but I think they needed to get that offense ginned up because they understood this game was one of those pivotal games in the season.
Gotcha. But, Bethune-Cookman should be able to get in there and beat Edward Waters. If not, And then these are two Florida teams, man. This is for the stomping ground as well. You know, this is for the turf. You know what I mean? You can't be the worst football program in Florida. You know, you can't be that.
And
So,
I'm gonna say this one last thing on Bethune-Cookman, and I keep saying this, and this is about how far Bethune-Cookman's fallen. Before they joined the SWAC, and they felt very disrespected. They were in their last 16 games against they were 15-1. They beat Grambling in their championship run in Grambling. So the fact that this program has fallen to this level, when now they're looking at the bottom field of a Valley and a UAPB, and they're all in that same category, that's hard for a program.
And guess what, Coach? When they were winning, is gonna come in there on Saturday.
There you go. And now you gave away my punchline. That's what I was about to end it with.
Brian Jenkins.
Well,
Right,
Coach. Well, Coach, I'll have a I wonder, is this going to be on SWAC TV? I don't know. If not, boy, I wish they would.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll look it up while you guys talk, because SWAC TV should have the schedule out.
Okay.
Lane don't have a chance.
So I get to move on.
It'll be 40-0. And Sam, Coach Connors used to work for Sam, so Sam ain't gonna put him out. He'll get 40, 45, 42-0.
All right. Well, let me say this one right here, Coach. This is Grambling coming off a tough game against Kentucky State, with East Texas A&M coming in, a Division I school, coming in looking for their first victory. Hey, Coach, they licking their chops at Grambling, Coach. What happens when a team coming in that needs a victory, coming into your place looking for a victory, realizing that Grambling has 2 wins, but they've beat a NAI school, which is Langston, and barely beat Kentucky State? What's the mindset of Grambling inviting a team in that's looking for their first win and also a Division I school?
Well, I tell you what, they don't play some good football teams. They lost to SMU 42-13. They got beat by Florida State. So they prepared to play fast football. So I wouldn't sleep on East Texas A&M. They play in the Southland Conference. Once again, these the teams that you can't, as you always say, these the whites against the blacks. So I wouldn't. This ain't no gimme for Grambling. Let's make sure these are 2 even match football programs.
Now, I did watch this team come into Prairie View last year with some talent, and Bubba was able to ink out a victory at homecoming. But I'm gonna be honest with you. From what I saw a lot of that Grambling game, Coach, and Grambling didn't have hardly any snap in that game. And to Campbell, correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't look like Grambling had much of a talent advantage either, other than T-Set at quarterback. That's the only guy that stood out as being more talented than the guys at Kentucky State. Was I seeing something different?
Well, that's the thing, and to this point, Kentucky State is not Albany State. You know what I'm saying? They're not that level of talent, so which makes it even worse. That, to your point. So that's what was concerning when I watched that game and looked at how that game was being controlled by Kentucky State, and just Grambling not being, and again, I mean, tradition matters, and them not getting. But like I said, credit to them to understand that you play through the whistle too. And that's how he got to win. So shout out to Coach Joseph to let those kids know that until the whistle blows, you keep playing. So I got to give them credit on that. But, yeah, I think they got to turn this around and really show some Grambling pride against East Texas A&M.
All right, Coach. All right, that's the lineup for next week. That's everybody. It's that time of the show. again, I'm gonna be tuned in to all the games, especially the Edward Waters and the Northwestern State Prairie View game. And I'll keep an eye over there at Grambling as well. But I'm really looking to see, I believe those two games, the SWAC has to come through in those two games. And I expect Coach Jackson to.
Hey, Rocky, let me give you the SWAC TV lineup real quick.
Okay.
So, of course, on SWAC TV this Saturday, you're going to have Lane versus Alabama A&M. That's at 6 p.m. kickoff Central Time. You got East Texas A&M and Grambling at 6 p.m. kickoff time. And then at also Central Time, Northwestern State and Prairie View at 6 p.m. So you're going to be able to give a look at these games. I want everybody, hey, cut on, a couple of your screens, check those games out, give those views because they're trying to build something with SWAC TV. Of course, there's been some criticism about some of the production. But again, we got to keep watching and support it. And you get the chance to see these games, then come back and speak intelligently about the game and not what you heard about it.
Absolutely. Coach, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, man, shoot. We seen some teams put some points up this week. Delaware State is still winning, which is a surprise to everybody. Perennial losing program. Deshaun Jackson is doing a fabulous job. We're still looking for Norfolk. And really, guys, we getting into the meat and, and things are moving slow, but now we're going to start getting in the meat and potatoes of it after this week. After this week, all the preseason and all the talking is over. We're really going to start seeing who's who. And so, I know I dropped the first game against Prairie View and everybody thought that, our season was pretty much over. And again, we end up running the table and winning the championship. I can remember at Tennessee State, we lost to Middle Tennessee State the first game of the year. And, we went on to win the Ohio Valley Conference. And that was the only game we lost in 2 years. So I've seen it on both ends. I've seen it, my team at Lane went 0-10 in my first year there. And the next year we went 7-3. And then the year after that, we went 8-2. So I've seen some turnarounds, and I know Northwestern State is 1-20, but when you get a good coach in there, man, and get that thing going and the coach is going in the right way, things can happen and swing your way. I mean, everybody, when you look at Southern last year, they won all those close ones with a first-year coach in Graves, and then this year, things has kind of changed in that area. So, we'll see, things, you can't go by all this talk. Like Mike Tyson used to say, any man want to get in with the ring with you until he's 6 inches away from getting punched in the face. So that's what's about to happen. I look for big things to happen. But, hey, guys, about all this thing that's going on with this political, man, keep your head to the ground and on the swivel. Love, God has taught all of us to love. Each and every one, love that neighbor. I believe in that, and I don't want to get involved with none of that. Anybody and nobody deserves to be punished on this earth, and the only one got that right is the man upstairs. I want to thank you guys for continuing to follow our show. I know sometimes it's getting tough out there, and always, if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, you tie a knot and you hold on tight. Because, like HBCU.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.